What's up guys, MTG Matchfield back with another video, and today we're going into the ladder with a Gruul Aggro list that, as you can see, is mostly red. And actually the list I'm going to show you here is slightly different from the list that you're going to see in the video, because this deck has evolved over the while and I want to give you the best end result, which is right here. But the deck that you see in the video is still very good, performed very well. Had a lot of fun with it, so let's dive right into the deck. So this is a Gruul Aggro deck, and the whole idea for this deck came about when I just wanted to build a deck around this new card, Defiler of Instinct, 4 mana 4/4 Phyrexian Cavalry with First Strike. So right away, this is a pretty thick body, an excellent blocker. 4/4 with First Strike is no joke. And it's got the basically the same tech as all the Defilers in the cycle, which is that you can, instead of paying a red mana pip in a mana cost of a permanent, of a red permanent, you can instead pay 2 life, and then whenever you cast a red permanent spell, Defiler of Instinct deals 1 damage to any target. So you have a thick body that enables you to play out even more cards, and every time you play a card you can ping something, which is really nice in this meta where we have a lot of Planeswalkers running around with Liliana, right? And especially Liliana, when she gets played and plays her -2, she goes down to 1 loyalty, so the Defiler of Instinct is a way right away to get rid of her. But then, you know, there are also tokens running around, so just this pinging is very good in the current meta. And it gets really crazy if you have multiple Defilers on the board. Then you can just ping stuff down, and I really like this creature. It's a really cool card, and I want to build a deck around it. And first I tried a Rakdos list, but it really didn't make that much sense. And then I slipped to Gruul, and Gruul was just the perfect choice, because Gruul just wants to be aggressive, and the Defiler coming down as a 4-drop, as a 4/4 First Strike, is aggressive enough, and it just makes all your plays after that even better. As I said, it's a perfect blocker. Also, if you play against mono blue, they have their Jin, right, which has 4 toughness and a lot of attack. However, if you attack with the Defiler, they can't block it because this has First Strike. So, short thing to note. So, Defiler of Instinct is the reason for this deck. And then the rest is just, okay, what is Gruul Aggro doing now in this new meta? And Gruul Aggro is actually really good. So, let's go over these cards one by one. In the 1-drop slot, we got 4 copies of Command of His Kakazan. If you're playing a red aggro deck, this is a staple by now, right? This 1 damage each opponent and Planeswalker on the first chapter. The Planeswalker part is especially interesting and nice in this meta. Second chapter, you play a creature and ends the battlefield with an additional 1/1 counter, which is actually very relevant because black decks run Cut Down, and the 1/1 counter makes so that all your 2-drops enter with a total power of toughness that is higher than 5, which means Cut Down can't kill it. So that's pretty relevant. And of course, of chapter 3, you get this Etching of Kumano. That's just nice to do hasty creature. Then we got 4 copies of Phoenix Chick, aggressive 1-drop, can come back from the graveyard, and it's a flyer, which is really good with some of our 3-drops, which we're gonna take a look at in a moment. In the 2-drop slot, I tried 4 copies of Yavimaya Iconoclast before I had the new 2-drop in green that gets a 1/1 counter whenever you play a creature, but I didn't really like it in this list. It was too slow. And the Iconoclast, you know, it has trample right away, and if needed can come in as a 4/3 with haste for 3 mana. So I tried this out, but I think there's still some experimentation in this 2-drop slot. Casting Naturalist here is a fixed 2-drop for this deck, whereas the Iconoclast certainly can see some experimentation by swapping it out with other 2-drop creatures. Casting Naturalist gets the day-night cycle going, and what's really nice is that if the Naturalist gets to attack on turn 3, we can actually ramp into our 4-drops, which is of course a Defiler, but also Etsushi the Blazing Sky. And what I really like about this deck, This deck has enabled me to finally use some cards that, you know, came out in some early expansions and were never really used, but now they have a time to shine. And Atsushi is just really good in Gruul Aggro, right? On turn 4, or with a Naturalist on turn 3, you put down a 4/4 Flying Trampler. It's very aggressive, and when it dies, you basically get to draw 2 cards for the next turn or create 3 treasure tokens. 99% of the time you're gonna choose the 2 cards. And it's just a real cool creature. There isn't that much exile anymore in the format, so Atsushi is actually really nice at 3 copies. Let's take a look at a 3-drop slot. We got 4 copies of Reckless Stormseeker. Nice 3-drop, gives haste to itself, obviously. But then if it stays on the board, it can also give haste to our 4-drop creatures, which is really nice. And then we got 2 copies of Professional Facebreaker, yet another card that I've never used before, but now it has a place. 3 mana 2/3 with Menace is a human warrior. Whenever one or more creatures you control deal common damage to your player, create a treasure token. And then we can sacrifice a treasure to exile top card of our library and play this turn. This gives us just some more value when our creatures attack, and because we have the Defiler, we have kind of like this sub-theme in the deck that we are cheating out mana, and Professional Facebreaker helps with that too by generating treasure tokens, because if we have a Defiler on the board and we can play like 1, 2, 3, like up to 3 creatures in a turn, the Defiler pinging down stuff is really useful. So Professional Facebreaker could easily be a 4 in this deck, I think, but I actually didn't want to use wildcards for it. Instead, I put in 2 more copies of Curse of Hospitality, which enchants a player, which is your opponent, obviously. It says creatures attacking enchanted player have trample, and whenever a creature deals common damage to enchanted player, the player exiles top card of the library. Until end of turn, the creature's controller may play that card, and they may spend mana stored mana of any color to cast that spell. So this is another way to make sure we don't run out of gas while being aggressive, and also gives our creatures trample, which is nice. Finally, we have yet another card that I didn't use before, but now has a place. A Volatile Arsonist, 5 mana 4/4 with Menace and Haste. And when it attacks, it can deal 1 damage to a creature, a player, and a planeswalker. And on the night side, it deals 2 damage instead to each of those targets. So, really good creature to finish out the game, but also you can find yourself in situations, for example, your opponent plays a Shieldred, which has 5 toughness, and you have an Arsonist on the board, you have a Defiler on the board, which all have only 4 power. You can attack with the Arsonist and ping down the Shieldred to 4 toughness, which makes it so that when she blocks, she will actually die and not, you know, just block your Arsonist and then survive the attack, or block your Defiler and survive the attack. And that's the deck. It's just a straight up aggro list, very fun to play in between if you want to have a break from some control type decks. And hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I see you guys soon.
Something suspicious is going on. And for once, it's not mine. We all have things we'd rather forget. One of your friends has to leave.